This episode of Another Great Day is brought to you by Adventure. It's Wednesday, March 20th, 2024. And if you recognize that noise, it means that you're a child of the 90s, because that is a quintessential Windows 95 sound effect, isn't it, Chris?
It sure is. At least it's close to it, but it's not the exact one.
And speaking of quintessential sound effects, this is my co-host, Chris, and I'm Aaron.
My middle name is Quint Essential. Chris Quintessential Taylor.
My middle name is Well, we'd like to welcome you back to Another Great Day, the podcast designed to encourage interaction, creativity, and conversation. We're so glad you're joining us here on our little podcast. Whatever you're doing, traveling, driving, cleaning your gutters, maybe you're at the gym, maybe you're buying groceries at Kroger.
Gross.
Scandalous.
That peanut butter from the Signature brand is really nice.
Yes, I see you splurging.
Signature selection.
That's great. Yeah, today we're going from bag cereal to box cereal. We're moving on up.
Whoa.
I know. Well, speaking of box cereal, here are some things to ask your parents.
Who buys that box cereal for you?
That's right.
Parents do.
And maybe it's not your parents. Maybe it's a guardian, someone watching over you, a babysitter, something like that. Maybe it's a best buddy you're sitting next to. Here's some fun questions to ask. Ready? All right. What's the weirdest thing you have ever eaten?
That's right. Take a second. Turn to those people, the ones who might be taller than you, and say, what's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
Hey, question for you.
That's right.
Interesting.
Aaron, I'm going to ask you, what do you
man.
think the weirdest thing you've ever eaten is?
I know exactly what it was.
Oh, you know exactly.
It was in 4th grade, and we were at Vacation Bible School,
What?
which was a summer Vacation Bible School. You know, you go.
I have a feeling this is kind of a dare thing.
It's at 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Go to church, do activities with friends.
Okay.
And during the lunch segment in the fellowship hall, one of my friends dared me to drink a thing he made.
Oh.
And you know, if Chris knows exactly, all boys that have lived through the 4th or 5th grade know exactly what's about to happen right now.
I cannot restrict this to the boys because
you're
I've
right.
seen my daughter and her cousins.
Okay, fair enough.
Almost every other time we get together, they are saying, "We made something for you, Crunkle."
Oh, no. Yes, and this was a combination of like sweet and low, equal, milk. I think there was a sandwich in it. It was the nastiest thing I'd ever eaten, and I drank it.
There's something I've learned about sweet and low, equal, and sugar.
It ruins everything.
Well, sugar tastes sweet.
You're right.
You put it on your tongue, and you were like, "Oh, that's sweet."
Yum.
And they measure the sweetness units. Have you ever heard of this before?
No. Sweetness units.
Yes, it's a thing. I'm not quite sure how they do it.
Is this like Scoville? Like it rates how hot something is?
Yes, it's similar to that.
Okay.
Apparently, sugar is kind of mild on sweetness units.
Get out of here.
All of the other ones that are synthetic are like 1,000 times more sweet, according to our brains.
That's ridiculous.
And so that's why like some of these are like squirt things. Like you squirt a little drop in instead of doing a whole like spoonful of sugar.
It's so concentrated.
It's so concentrated. You just need just a little bit.
Oh man, that's shocking to me.
And for adults, your body has the same insulin reaction to the fake sugar as it does the real sugar.
Oh,
I'm sorry to break it to you.
Oh,
my favorite
sad
Diet
forever.
Dr. Pepper drink has the same effect in my body as drinking regular Dr. Pepper.
Oh, at least so.
The chemicals released in my brain. The sugar doesn't go because there's no sugar. But anyway, that's way too much technical adult talk.
How about you? What's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten?
Oh, I was just thinking back to those times. We used to, at Vacation Bible School, dip the vanilla Oreos that were not Oreos,
like
off-brand,
the fake ones,
in the pink lemonade. That was like from the powder, huge 5-gallon bucket that was basically just like 1 cup for 5 gallons. It was basically just water with pink in it.
Yep.
But we would dip the cookie in it as if, because we didn't have any milk. We had no milk. We needed milk. And
you
so-
should have had bags of milk. I've heard your stories.
and it would fall apart and there'd be little crumbs floating in it.
That
Anyway,
sounds just awful.
it wasn't
honestly.
great,
No.
but as a kid, I didn't care. It was the
Yeah.
next best thing.
Yeah, sugar plus sugar and water.
That is not the weirdest thing I've ever had, but that's one of them.
You're like the guy Edgar from Men in Black. Like, I need sugar,
Sugar.
water.
Water. That's right.
That was you. You were the Edgar suit. Okay, here's another question, kiddos, if you're paying attention still. Question number 2 is, what's the weirdest fashion trend you followed when you were younger? Ask that to an older person and get ready. And if you have a piece of paper near you, you should try to draw what they're describing.
Oh, yes, you should.
Because I bet it's far out, bro.
It was extremely
groovy.
tubular.
Radical. Chris, I have to say, compliments to my mother who's listening right now. She did not allow me to dress crazy.
Oh.
I was never allowed to wear Jinko jeans. I was never allowed to wear crazy looking clothes.
You're saying a brand.
Can
you describe these Jinko jeans
so
that I wore?
Jinko jeans. Imagine if one pant leg, like if you stood in a perfect like a pole and you put your arms down to your sides and you put your legs as close together. That was the size of one pant leg. It was big enough to put your entire body in.
I'll tell you what the size was because I owned them.
They're so ridiculous.
I was size 30, 32. My waist was 30.
Okay.
The bottom rim of the pants,
The circumference?
the circumference, were also 30.
Oh my gosh, just ridiculous.
It was like wearing 2 skirts. It made no sense.
It really
It
was.
was like huge tube skirts on your legs.
Yes.
I realize that now.
Like-
it also made hacky sack very difficult.
Oh, without a doubt.
Because the pant leg would be flapping, although sometimes it would catch the hacky sack.
True. But you couldn't ride a bike. You couldn't really rollerblade all that well.
You could do all those things. They would just rip.
and
that's what I did.
And they were not cheap either.
They were
These pants were horrendously
my
expensive.
Christmas money.
Woo.
I foolishly spent full price $80 on a pair of jeans.
Wow.
It was but I learned after that to not do that again.
You're smart.
My parents let me make small mistakes.
Well, I understand the weird. Well, so I didn't never wear anything weird, but I did bleach my hair blonde the day before high school graduation and created World War III in my household. It was not pretty.
So that
and I regret it all. I'm so sorry, Mom and Dad. I am so sorry.
was it just the tips or the whole head?
The whole thing.
Oh, no.
I bleached my. I have dark,
no.
almost black hair, and I bleached it. It was like neon yellow.
Oh man, I can't even imagine that.
It was a bad decision, but I lived to tell the tale. Thank you for not sending me to an early grave, parents. All right, well, that'll do it for Things to Ask Old People. And transition us into This Day in History.
That's right.
Chris, what you got for us in the history book?
This day in 1854, the Republican Party of the United States is organized, is founded, is born, is made in Ripon, Wisconsin.
Rippin', bro.
Here's a little history. The early Republican Party consisted of the northern states Protestants, so the northern part of the United States.
Okay.
Factory
so
workers.
non-Catholics, Protestants, non-Catholics.
Protestants, yep. Factory workers, professionals, businessmen, prosperous farmers, and after the Civil War, former black slaves.
Wow.
The party had very little support from white Southerners at the time, who predominantly backed the Democratic Party and what was known as the Solid South.
Whoa.
And also didn't have support from Catholics, who made up a major Democratic voting bloc. Here's my armchair history perspective, looking back through time.
Hit us, historian Chris.
Times change. Groups of people change.
Yep.
If things aren't the way you want them right now, soon enough they might change, because things keep on changing. But one thing doesn't change, and that is Christ the Lord, Jesus.
Bum, bum, bum.
Victory.
Windows 95 victory sound. That's absolutely right, Chris. Good job. And that'll do it for This Day in History. And bring us over to the discussion question of the day. That's right, folks. Welcome in. The water is fine.
We're going to keep on talking about stuff.
Yeah, let's talk about this. You got a question? Would you like to ask the question of the day today, Chris?
I sure can.
All right, let's hear it.
I sure can there, Aaron. I got questions for you.
Lay it on me, man.
You sound like Drover from the Hank the Cowdog.
Prominently trigger. Sheriff of Nottingham from Robin Hood.
That is. Why did he become like a bumpkin instead of a British? I don't know. Anyway.
Well, little church mouse. Oh, when he steals the money from the friar in that movie. Oh.
Here's the question.
Sorry, okay.
Back on the rails.
Yeah.
Click, click. Here is the question. Pause it after this and talk to people around you.
Yep.
If you were asked why you would make a good leader of your school, what would you say?
Ooh, it's like a campaign pitch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, say, like the Republican Party kind of thing.
I like that.
That was the connection. I thought, what would make you a good leader?
All right, I think I've got an answer.
Oh, well, what does Aaron have?
Okay. First of all, 10-minute passing periods between every class. We're going to shorten each class by 5 minutes a day. Block scheduling is enacted. Everyone has to work either food or retail.
What?
After school. I don't think I'm going to get elected.
I don't know.
How about a chocolate fondue fountain for anybody that makes all A's? Hey!
There we go. Incentives.
That could be better. Maybe we
Carrots and
incentivize good
sticks.
things. I wasn't prepared for this.
That's all right. That's all right. No, you're making stuff up. That's how it goes.
How about you?
I was thinking that I would say what might make me a good leader would be that I like to listen to people and hear them out and try to solve problems together.
That is true. You are good at that.
That would be what I would say if I was campaigning to say, this is me, here's my qualities that would be helpful for the situation.
I like that.
I'm not sure I really want to be the leader, but I could definitely do it. I have a lot of experience being the leader on video production sets, where I am in charge of the camera and making sure we're capturing the things we need to capture. So I can take lead. I'm not necessarily sure I want to all the time, though.
Well, you know, the reluctant leaders are sometimes the best leaders.
That's what I've been told.
Yep, it's kind of awesome. Keeps you from becoming a megalomaniac.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just a song
no,
from a game.
Megalovania.
Oh, Megalovania from Rivers game.
Power Hungry, yes. Undertale. Shout out to Undertale. All right, well, if you know why you would make a good leader of your school or organization, let us know, especially if it's crazy ridiculous. Bananas and go nuts. All right.
or if it's kind of boring, we also want to hear you too.
Yeah, if it's very mundane, we would love it also. All right. Well, speaking of mundane, let's go ahead and move on to the dad joke section of the day. Dad joke section. Go. All right. With Wes being on leave this week, I'm going to take over and read you a dad joke. Here we go. Chris, the bank keeps calling me to give me compliments. They say I have an outstanding balance.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's not stressful at all. Please send help. All right, that'll do it for today's dad joke and bring us to what we used to call the word of wisdom, but now we're calling the gospel section. The adventure of the true hero. The journey of a true hero.
That's right. We're in Mark chapter 1, verses 14 through 20. And Aaron, do you want to get that first section until 17?
All right.
And then I'll get the second section.
All right, I'll do 14 through 16. Here we go.
There you go.
After John's arrest, Jesus came into Galilee announcing God's good news. The time is fulfilled, he said. God's kingdom is arriving. Turn back and believe the good news. As he went along beside the Sea of Galilee, he saw Simon and his brother Andrew. They were fishermen and were casting nets into the sea.
Follow me, said Jesus to them. I'll have you fishing for people. Straight away, they left their nets and followed him. He went on a bit and saw James, Zebedee's son, and John, his brother. They were in the boat mending their nets, and he called them then and there. And they left their father Zebedee in the boat with the hired servants and went after him. I've always been perplexed by why they would just immediately leave because they saw some guy on the shore that said, follow me.
My dad would be kind of upset with me, I think.
Like, where are you guys going?
You're
The
good.
nets.
You didn't even help clean.
So I was reading a story, a book about Jesus. And at this time, he was known as a teacher or a rabbi.
Okay.
And
did that give him some sort of status or credibility amongst the people?
it would. And here's the thing. If you were a guy in this period of time, you would have been raised from a young age at the synagogue reading the Torah, which is the Old Testament, the 5 books of the Old Testament, the Pentateuch. You've been reading it and training up to be a leader of the church at the time, of the Jewish church, the synagogue. And hopefully you would be so good at it that the rabbi would choose you to train.
Oh, yes.
And that then you could stay training with the books and the words and not have to go out to do manual labor like fish.
So it was an honor
It was-
to be called by the rabbi.
I heard the analogy was, imagine that you were, this is a loose analogy, imagine that you want to be the best basketball player in the world.
Okay.
And up walked LeBron James and
Whoa.
said, you, come follow me. I'm going to train you to be the best basketball player.
Because we have to fight some monsters
Oh,
in a
that's-
Looney
Sorry.
Tunes basketball game.
No, none of that.
Oh, sorry.
But that's kind of the analogy. Jesus wasn't famous yet, but Jesus was a teacher, a rabbi, and they would have been like, oh, wow, a teacher wants me. And what was so upside down about Jesus' calling is he said, most rabbis said, I'm going to choose one person or 2 people to follow me and train. And Jesus said, everybody can follow me,
Boom.
which is totally different than all the other
Mind
system
blown.
at the time. So,
Good job.
Yep.
Man, Jesus is the best. All right, Chris. Well, that'll do it for today. Let's hit that music and call it a day. Yeah. Our mission here on Another Great Day podcast is to encourage interaction, creativity, and conversation.
And we hope that you like it. We hope that you are smelling the roses along with us and seeing the mountains of silliness. Because we see them. We're blinded by them.
We fall in the cave of wonder often. That's that mean tiger from Aladdin, actually, the cave of wonder.
That's right. But if you are with us, please go rate and review us and share it,
Yeah, it
out
helps us
there.
out. But most importantly, we hope you help us beat the internet. No.
Other
You
importantly,
say it. Take it away, Chris.
we hope that you make it
Another
great
day.
day.
We'll see you tomorrow.